Okay, who would like to start this mantra?
May I?
Yeah.
Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnana Jnana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamine Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschayatya Deshatarine. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. Our respectful obeisances are unto you, O spiritual master, servant of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami. You are kindly preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya Deva and delivering the Western countries, which are filled with impersonalism and voidism. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. I offer my obeisances to Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasa, and others in the line of devotion. Maha means great, mantra means sacred chant for deliverance. Of all the mantras in the Vedas, one is called the Maha Mantra or the Great Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The words Hare Krishna and Rama are Sanskrit words. Hare is an address to the God's energy known as Radha, and Krishna is the name of God, meaning he who is attractive to everyone. Rama means one who gives pleasure and enjoys life. When chanted, the Maha Mantra is a petition to God. O Krishna, O energy of Krishna, please engage me in your service.
Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Ravinda, Manju, Ram.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Namaskar, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Okay, this is so welcome to Gita Gyan level 2 chapter 8, the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. We take blessings from this Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai Ki Jai. And we ask for the blessings that we may become good devotees and also understand Bhagavad Gita and also use it in our lives. Also, we should chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we take the blessings of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
And also also the blessings of Japataka Maharaj. Okay, who would like to read this?
Okay, can I, Prabhu? Understanding the Gita. In this world, men are not meant for quarreling like cats and dogs. Men must be intelligent to realize the importance of human life and refuse to act like ordinary animals. A human being should realize the aim of his life, and this direction is given in all Vedic literatures, and the essence is given in Bhagavad Gita. Vedic literature is meant for human beings, not animals. Animals can kill other living animals, and there is no question of sin on their part. But if a man kills an animal for satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste, he must be responsible for breaking the laws of nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly explained that there are three kinds of activities according to the different modes of nature: the activities of goodness, of passion, and of ignorance. Similarly, there are three kinds of eatables also: eatables in goodness, passion, and ignorance. All of this is clearly described, and if we properly utilize the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, then our whole life will be purified, and ultimately we will be able to reach the destination which is beyond this material sky.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So we are human beings. We are not like animals. If you want to be animal, now it's raining. You got no house to stay in. You have to either stay in the cave, or maybe you'll get wet also. So it's very hard to be an animal. And being an animal, every moment of time, you're afraid someone's going to eat me, kill me. So they are always on the lookout, always under stress. Just imagine if you were staying in the jungle and then you have to sleep in the jungle. You'll always be under stress. Any animal coming to eat me, or anything happen, and all that. So in this way, we are actually very fortunate to be human beings. But to be human beings does not mean you just eat, sleep, defend, and mate. A human being means you have to become elevated to the animalistic way of life. You see, so in this way, we also supposed to learn about Krishna and read the Bhagavad Gita and apply in this life, and we leave this material world and not come back. Animals have to come back to this material world. They don't know anyway, but coming back. So in this way, there are three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So the things that you eat, the things that you do are all under these three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So you should all try to come to the level of goodness. Once you come to the level of goodness, then you can take up bhakti a bit more seriously, and you can transcend the goodness into a mode of above the three modes of material nature. That means you are in a mode of transcendence. So once you are in a mode of transcendence, what happens is you will actually be eligible to go back to the spiritual world. So this is the steps. So please understand, at least you understand, and we try and as much as possible be in the mode of goodness, as much as possible not to be in the mode of passion and ignorance. Okay. So chapter 8 is attaining the supreme. We had a good chapter last week, so we are hoping to have a good chapter this week also. All right, as I told you, 7 to 12 is all about Bhakti Yoga. So this was in chapter 7, Those in full consciousness of me who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all matters of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality Godhead, even at the time of death. So this is how we leave the material world. We know about Krishna, we remember Krishna, and we have applied all the principles of religiosity as stated in Bhagavad Gita. So what happened is you can remember Krishna at the time of death and go back to Krishna. Okay, who would like to start off with chapter 8, text 1?
Yeah, may I, Prabhu?
Yes, sure.
You have to guide me, Prabhu.
Okay. Kim Tat Brahma,
Kim Tat Brahma,
Kim Adhyatman,
Kim Adyatmam,
Kim Karma Purusottama,
Kim Karma Purushottama,
Adi Bhutam Cha,
Adi Bhutam Cha,
Kim Proktam,
Kim Proktam,
Adi Daivam,
Adi Daivam,
Kim Uchate.
Kim Uchate. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Arjuna is asking many questions. He's telling Krishna, what is the meaning of Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? So how many questions now? What is Brahman? 1. What is self? 2. What are the fruitive activities? 3. What is this material manifestation? 4. What are the devas? 5. In this question, in this verse, 5 questions. Okay, remember this question. Okay, next, who would like to do this?
I'll read, Prabhu.
Yeah, sure. Prabhu.
Adiyajnaha katam kotra dehesmin madhusudana prayanakale cha katam neyosi niyatatmabihi. Who is the Lord of sacrifice and who does he live in the body, O Madhusudana? Oh, sorry. And how does he live in the body, O Madhusudana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death?
Okay, just now was how many questions?
5.
5. Okay, this is the 6th question. Who is the Lord of sacrifice? And then how does he live in the body? 7. And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? 8. This is chapter 8, and Arjuna is asking 8 questions. All right. So before we read this, we read from the Bhagavad Gita 8.3 to 8.4. Who would like to read?
Okay, I will read, Prabhuji.
Okay, sure.
Text 8.3, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma or fruitive activities. Text 8.4, O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adibhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and moon, is called Adideva. And the Supreme Lord, represented as a super soul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adi Yatna, the Lord of sacrifice.
Okay. So Krishna is now explaining the answers to the first three questions is what is Brahman? So here's the first question. What is Brahman? So it is the indestructible living entity. Who is the indestructible living entity? Can you all answer? Who is the indestructible living entity? Try.
The soul?
Huh?
The soul?
Yeah, the soul, correct. This is the answer. What is Brahman? It is the soul. Okay. And then the second question is, what is the self? What is the self? The self is the controller of the body. It is Atma engaging itself and understanding the eternal nature. Okay, that is Adhyatma. So the second question is, what is self? The answer is, it is the Atma engaging itself and understanding its eternal nature. Okay, which means understanding that it is the eternal servant and companion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you know, I have given you all notes, right, on my personal notes. So this is all in the chapter 8. The explanation one by one. Okay, and then what are fruitive activities? Fruitive activities means karma. And the answer is activity which generates a material body for the living entity. That means actions which are materially motivated and they bind you to the material world. It creates karma for the doer of these actions, and it also binds one to the material world and creates rebirth for the living entity. So this is the answer to the third question of Arjuna. And then in
Sorry, Prabhuji, that means
yes,
karma and fruitive activities are opposite, is it?
same.
Okay,
Karmic activities we call it.
because I thought karma is always the bad thing that's done.
But good action give you good result, bad action give you bad result. Why should it always be bad? When you become rich, you got good karma.
So Prabhuji, good karma and bad karma means fruitive activities.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Spiritual activities are akarma. That means no karma in it. It will be above karma. So there is karma and there is akarma. So karma is good and bad.
Small, red.
Okay, understand so far? Can we proceed?
Understand, Prabhuji.
Okay. Then this is in chapter 8.3, Krishna gives the answer to this 1, 2, 3 questions. Then in 8.4, Krishna gives the answer to 4 more questions. So in these 2 verses, he answers 7 questions. And then there's still one last question. Okay, let's see what the 4th question is. Question number 4 is Adibhuta, the material manifestation. So what is the material manifestation? Arjuna is asking. Okay, and then which is the constantly changing, answer is constantly changing physical world. That place which is temporary and changing, and inferior energy of the Lord. That is the material manifestation. So here written constantly changing physical world, but it's not very clear exactly. So in my notes I have given, it is actually the world or place which is temporary and changing and inferior energy of the Lord, this material world. Okay. Okay, now we go to question 5. What are the demigods, devas, Adi Deva, the supreme demigod? So the universal form which includes all demigods and their different planets. Okay, so they are devas and are devotees of the Lord entrusted with managing the affairs of the material world. The devas also have to die one day, and the exception of Shiva, who is an expansion of Krishna. Shiva doesn't die when the whole world, all the devas die. And when all the devas die, a new set of people enter the play. The devas are all posts, ministerial posts. So when one set of ministers go away, you have another set of living entities taking up the post. Only Shiva is different. Shiva doesn't, there is still, is always Shiva. He doesn't die. Okay? So the other devas all die. Indra dies. All the other devas die. With the exception of a few like Shiva and I think Lakshmi. Lakshmi also is in a way a deva, in a way not deva, because she also doesn't die. She's always with Lord Vishnu. Okay. So sometimes people say that Lakshmi is a deva, but actually she is a expansion of Vishnu also. All right. Radharani also is not a devi. All right. So she is actually expansion from Krishna. So we are talking about the other devas like Ganesh and all the others. The Parvati is an expansion. Lord Shiva's wife Parvati is an expansion from Radharani Lakshmi. So that she also doesn't die. So the others are posts. Okay. So then number, who is the Lord of sacrifice? Krishna is Arjuna is asking, and it means who is Adi Yagna, the enjoyer of sacrifice, and it's actually Krishna is the Lord of sacrifice. Means here Paramatma in every embodied being, Krishna himself. So Krishna is the Paramatma, and he is the Lord of enjoyer of the sacrifice. So he is receiving and appreciating and enjoying the devotional service which you render to him. So you must understand, Lord Krishna is the enjoyer of all sacrifice. So he, which means that whatever devotional service you're doing for the Lord, is enjoying and appreciating. Okay, so he is the benefactor. Okay, where does he reside? Okay, where does the Lord live in the bodies of the living entities? Remember the question number 7. And the answer is in everyone's heart as the super soul. Here you can see Paramatma. Okay, so Paramatma is expansion of Vishnu and is seated in everyone's heart with our Atma. So how to remember Krishna at the time of death? This is the 8th question. And the 8th question, Krishna has answered in many verses after this. That means from 8.3 to 8.4, 7 questions have been answered. Then the balance of the balanced question, number how to remember Krishna, Krishna explains in many verses. Okay. from 8.5 onwards. Okay, any questions so far? Okay.
Prabhuji, when you say sacrifice, are you talking about like homam and all that?
If you are homam for Krishna, yes. If you
Okay.
do devotional, chanting is also sacrifice. It's not necessary just that. And then you are doing deity worship is also sacrifice.
Understand. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, all right. So it's not meant only just for homam. Huh? Anything devotional service is sacrifice. Okay, who would like to read this? Volunteer? Nobody want to volunteer? Ram? Kavinda?
Yeah, Prabhu, I will read.
Okay.
Anta kali chamam eva smaran muktva kalivaram yah prayati samad bhavam yati nasti atra samsaya. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body remembering me alone at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Krishna is saying in the last question is, what was the last question? How to remember Krishna at the time of death. So Krishna is saying, and whoever at the end of his life quits his body remembering me alone, only me. You cannot remember anyone else. You must remember only Krishna. At once obtains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. And you say obtains my nature means you go back to the spiritual world. When you go to the spiritual world, you obtain Krishna's nature, the qualities of Krishna. Okay? Okay, who would like to read this? Who hasn't read yet?
I read Prabhu.
Yes.
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajat ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tat bhava pavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quit his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Krishna is still answering question number 8, because question number 8 is very important. It's telling you how to leave this material world and go back to the spiritual world. So Krishna first says that you remember me, and whatever state you remember when you quit your body, that state you attain. Like a fly is being eaten by the lizard. If the fly thinks of the lizard at the time of death, the fly will become the lizard. But if the fly doesn't think of the lizard, it can become something else also. It's not necessary. Sometimes when someone kills you, example, sorry to say, I mean, hopefully no one gets killed by anyone. But if someone is killed, okay, let's say not you. If someone is killed by someone and he sees the fella and remembers the fella at the time of death, then he will actually get into that, like a tiger is eating you, you might remember the tiger. But if you're remembering Krishna at the time of death, even if the tiger is eating you, you will not get the body of the tiger. But of course, if you are a devotee, even though you see and you have done devotional service and the tiger eats you and you remember the tiger, still you will hopefully don't get the tiger's body. Hopefully Krishna gives you mercy. Like here you see this, the story of Bharat, King Bharat. He went to the jungle and he sat down and he had a baby deer whose mother died, and so then he adopted the deer. At the time of death, he was keeping the deer as a pet. At the time of death, instead of remembering Krishna, remember the deer. So next life he became deer. But because he was devotee, Krishna gave him the understanding in the deer's body to remember that he was a king and now he's a deer. So the deer always constantly think of Krishna. At the time of death, he died and he became a human again. And then in the body of a human, the name is Jada Bharat. So again, he remembered Krishna all the while. In fact, when he was born, he remembered Krishna, and then his father wanted to get him married, but he acted like a fool. So when you act like a fool, no girl wants to marry a fool. So then the father gave up on him. But actually, internally, he was a great devotee and he was praying all the while. So because he didn't want to get married, he did not want to offend his father. So he acted like a fool. So the father was very disgusted. Why I have such a stupid son? Actually, he was not stupid. He was a very pure devotee. So the father also goes back to Godhead because the son is pure devotee. Father should go back. Father thought that he's unfortunate. Actually, the father is very fortunate. So this is the story in the Srimad Bhagavatam you can see. And then here, if this fellow remembering his family, he will come back. He won't go back to Krishna. Okay, so then of course, if you remember, I think I've told you the story of Dundukari, right? Anyone can remember the story of Dundukari? Have I told the story to you all?
Prabhu, what's the name again?
Dundukari.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is the red leaf is that?
You know the story, huh? Anyone don't know? Answer, please. Anyone don't know?
Yes, Prabhuji, I don't think so. I knew this story.
Okay, so
I
I'm
was
sorry
gonna-
for those who have known already. Please bear for a while. It's a funny story. You can always listen again. So anyway, what happened is Narada Muni. He was very. He always goes to Krishna and visits Krishna after preaching so long. It's just like we going to the temple after 6 days of working. The 7th day we go temple and do the prayers because we want to get back connection and recharge our spiritual battery. In the material world, it drains our spirituality. So we go once a week at least to the temple to regain our spirituality. So in this way, Narada Muni goes back to see Krishna. So when he went to see Krishna, Krishna was very happy, washed his feet, give him nice prasad. Krishna is always very happy to meet devotees. So anyway, Krishna asked Narada Muni about what he has done, and then Narada Muni explains, and then Narada Muni also said that it's very hard to get people to come back to the spiritual world, even though after preaching to them, still they are so engrossed in the material world. So then Krishna says, so sorry to hear that. I tell you what, there is one nice devotee. Maybe you can go and preach to him. He's very ready. He knows all about me. He's got a lot of love for me. You go and preach to him. You get him to come back very fast. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. That's a good try. Tell me who it is. There's one man living in India in this place. His name is Dundukari. So you please go and tell him that I'm asking him to come back to the spiritual world. So then Narada Muni was very happy. And then on the way, as he was passing by that place, he went and knocked on the door of Dundukari. So Dundukari opened the door and he saw Narada Muni. And he said, so happy. He said, pure devotee is coming to my house. I am blessed. Please come in. Narada Muni, please come in, wash the feet. Gave him nice prasad. And then Narada Muni was telling nice Krishna story. And he was so happy listening. He was saying, wow, wow, so nice, so nice. And then Dundukari said, I wish I can go back to the spiritual world. I'm longing. And Narada Muni said, oh, okay, that's a good idea. Anyway, I already talked to Krishna. Krishna said, you can come back now. You don't need to wait already. Oh, so nice. Yeah. And then Then another Muni said, can we go? No, Krishna is so merciful. I am not I am not actually qualified. I don't think I will be able to fit in. But then another Muni said, but then Krishna said, don't worry, everything can rectify. Just you come now. He said, no, I cannot. I just got married. After my wife become widow. Can you come back maybe a few years time? 5 years time. So another Muni said, okay, no problem. Because 5 years very fast, right? You 5 years finish very fast. So 5 years later he knocked again. And then again the same Dundukari was very happy and was listening nice Krishna stories and appreciating and was feeling very blissful. And then Narada Muni said, remember 5 years ago you said that you can come after 5 years? Yeah, but now we got child. Cannot. How my wife can be with the child alone? Cannot, not ready. Then Narada Muni says, so how? Nah, come back 5 years more. Okay. No, 10 years more, because child small must become big. So anyway, after 10 years, Narada Muni came. And then he knocked on the door. Again, the same thing again. And he was very happy to see Narada Muni. And then he said, Narada Muni said, okay, come, let's go. Krishna is waiting for you to go back to the spiritual world. He said, I cannot. My son have to get married. Then the wife will look after the wife of the son will look after my wife, and I'll be free. Come back 5 years. So again, 5 years later, Narada Muni comes. And then again the same, he said, cannot. Why cannot? Because my wife and my son's wife always fighting. I'm the one who always make things okay. Otherwise there'll be big war. Because it's new, new marriage, they cannot get along. So then Narada Muni said, what do you want me to do now? Come back 5 years later. So anyway, after another 5 years time, he came. The Narada Muni knocked on the door again. Again the same thing. He said, cannot. Why? Because my grandson so small. And then this husband and wife, they go out, and my wife cannot manage the grandson. So can you come back 5 years later? That time grandson a bit bigger. That time I'm okay. Say okay. So another 5 years time he came. He knocked on the door. This time Dundukari know this Narada Muni. So I don't want to. You just tell. He tell his wife. Just tell him I'm not home. Okay. I'm going up. I'm hiding there. You just say I'm not home. So while he was going up, he fell on the stairs and he broke himself. He broke his neck and died. And then all were crying. And then Narada Muni could sense that this fellow is dead, because he is, very spiritual person. He can see. So he said, I better run away. Otherwise, they will say that because of me, the fellow died. So I don't want to be the cause of the problem. So he went. And then once he went back to Krishna, Narada Muni. And then he told, then Krishna asked him, how are you? Fine. Then the topic came about Dundukar. This person you recommend, every time I go, got problem, don't come. What to do? Finally, I went last, and he died. Because he went up the stairs and broke his neck. So now I don't even know where he is. Narada Muni told Krishna. Krishna says, I know where he is. Oh, really? Where is he? He is the dog in the house. Oh, Narada Muni said, what a waste. How can we get a dog to come back to the spiritual? Krishna said, never mind. I am willing to give a good concession, because I want you to be successful in your endeavor. Why don't you go and talk to the dog? Now he's a dog. He's got no family, no nothing, no attachment. Come, tell him, come, even in dog body, come. Go back to the spiritual world. So Narada Muni was very happy. He said, Krishna is so kind. So he went, and then he went to the house, and there was one dog sleeping. Then he went there and he said, Dundukari, Dundukari. The dog was sleeping, he opened one eye. Dundukari, Dundukari. Who are you? The dog said. Then another said, remember, last life you are Dundukari, and this happened. And he gave him the remembrance. And the dog said, yeah, true. So now, you see, what a pity. I never got a chance to go back to the spiritual world. So then the Narada Muni said, okay, Krishna said, am I even in this as a dog soul, you can come back to the spiritual world. No need to take human birth now, straight. Then the dog said, cannot, I cannot come. Then Narada Muni said, why not? Now you got no family, nothing. You know, I've been working so hard for this family of mine, and all this money all inside the house. And now these people have went out and they did not lock the door. Now if the thief come, how? I have to guard the house. Otherwise these people, some robber will come. I cannot go. So then Narada Muni understood that actually people are so much attached to the material world that even Krishna said, come back now, they don't want to come back. So that's the problem. Even sometimes, as you know, the full Krishna consciousness philosophy, you even know about everything, that we are only temporary in the material world, but still the attachment is so strong for the body. So that's why it's very dangerous. Okay. Who would like to read this? Who hasn't read yet? Ribol? Who hasn't read yet?
Prabhuji, you want me to read?
Yes.
Tasmat sarvesu kalesu mam anusmara yudhyacha mai arpita manobhutir mam ivesyasi asamsaya. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt.
Thank you. So
Thank you.
still the continuation of the last question. You should always think of me, Krishna says. At the same time, do your duty. Whatever, as a parent, as a husband, as a wife, as a doctor, you do your duty, but always think of me. And you dedicate all your activities to me. Meaning even your job, you dedicate as a duty to you, Krishna. I am a doctor, or I am a nurse, or I am a what you say, whatever job you have, businessman, I dedicate it to you, because in this world actually I am only belong to you, and my actual thing is to do devotional service to you. So I offer these activities, because in the world we have to do our duties. So I offer all this as I'm doing this duty as an offering to you. So then when your mind and intelligence fix on me, you will attain me without doubt. Okay, 8.9 and 8.10. Who would like to read? 8.9 from Bhagavad Gita.
Prabhuji, I read.
Yeah, okay.
Prayana kale manasa chalena.
8.9 first.
8.9.
From Bhagavad Gita, then you read this.
Okay, sorry. Okay. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person upon the Supreme.
Upon.
Meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is a transcendental beyond this material nature. 8.10 Prayana kale manasa chalena bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva bruvor bhatye pranam avesya samyak satam param purusam upeti divyam. One who at the time of death fix his life hair between the eyebrows and by the strength of yoga with undeviating mind engage himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of a Godhead.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So Krishna says in 8.9, go back, let's go to the Bhagavad Gita. You meditate on the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything. That means you must meditate on Krishna, and Krishna knows everything. He is the oldest, that means he is the from first. And who is the controller? He controls all of us. Who is smaller than the smallest? He can become smaller than the smallest. Who is the maintainer of everything? Everything he maintains. Who is beyond all material conception? Who is above this material nature? But the material nature is in him. This part of material nature is part of Krishna, but Krishna is not in the material nature. Who is inconceivable? You cannot understand. And who is always a person. So here, always a person. Remember this. When someone says Krishna has, the God has no form, tell him you're talking nonsense. In Bhagavad Gita, it's very clear in this verse, Krishna is a person. And then he is luminous like the sun. He is very effulgent. And he is transcendental beyond this material nature. Right? So these are qualities of Krishna. And then you should, when you are dying, if you know you're going to die, you should fix your mind upon near the center, and by strength of yoga, that means with full control of your body, with undeviating mind, that means control your mind. You remember the Lord in full devotion, and you will certainly remember Krishna in full devotion and give up your life. And you will certainly attain the Supreme Personality. This is how you must try to die. Hopefully you know when you're dying. Okay? Any questions so far? No, huh? Okay. Who would like to read this? Manju? Manju, are you there?
I
Ram?
will read. Yes, Prabhuji, I will read.
Yeah, I thought you disappeared.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
Yadakshram Veda Vido Vadanti Vishanti Yatayo Vitaraga Yat Ichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti Tatte Padam Sangrehena Pravakshaye. Persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is actually for devotees. Okay. But there are some people who want to do meditation and remember the Lord. So these are different. That means they are celibate. They don't get married. Okay. And they want to great sages in the renounced order enter into the Brahman, the effulgence, and he's briefly explaining what these people do. So it's not for you, but for you to know that this is also a process, but it's not easy and it's not possible for us. Okay, just for your information.
Prabhu, can I ask a question?
Yes.
But why is the word salvation used here? Because if you are mentioning effulgence, right, or Brahma Jyoti,
Yeah, they also
then you can come back to the material world, right, from Brahma
you
Jyoti.
can also go to the spiritual world from there.
Oh, okay.
You see, it's not necessary that when you go Brahma Jyoti, you will fall down back. You might be able to go up from there. Okay. Okay. So who would like to read 11, 12, 11, 13, and then 11, 14?
May I?
Yeah, sure.
Persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy.
Stop,
I
stop.
should not.
12, 13, and 14. This we have done just now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
12.
The yogic situation, 12. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of all of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the light air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga. 13. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the supreme personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. 14. Ananya Cheta Sadadam Yomam Smaradi Nityashaha Tasyaham Sulabha Prata Aparta Nitya Yuktasya Yoginaha. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain. O son of Prata, because of his constant engagement in devotional service.
Yes.
Hare
Hare Krishna. So Krishna is explaining the yogic process, which is here, Jnana Yogis. And he's continuing with verse 12, the yogic situation of detachment from sensual engagement. For us, we use our senses in the engagement of Krishna. Sorry, we get pleasure from that. They try and become austere and detach from sensual engagements. And they close the doors to their senses and fix the mind on the heart and air at the top of the head and establish themselves in yoga. So these are more in people who are controlling the body and trying to go back to the spiritual world. So this is the situation of them. Okay. After being situated in a yoga practice, vibrating sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the supreme person and quits the body, he will reach the spiritual planet. So the question just now Prabhu asked is, they are trying to enter Brahman. There are people who are trying to enter Brahman, but they progress themselves and they start chanting Om, and then think of Krishna and die at that time. They will reach the spiritual planets. So basically, they will also go back to spiritual world, but they may not go back to Vaikuntha. I mean, they may not go back to Goloka Vindravan. They may go to one of the Vaikuntha planets. So the Jnana Yogas don't go to very less chance. They go to the Krishna Loka because they are not doing devotional service. So then here, Krishna says for those who are bhakti yogis, devotees, you remember me without deviation, I am easy to obtain. You will get me, my planet. O son of Pratha, because of constant engagement in devotional service. You can see people are always reading, hearing, talking, associating with devotees, selling books, distributing prasad, everything, all their senses and their pleasure is in Krishna consciousness. Okay? So now if you want to do, maybe this is a guide. What you can do, you can 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, you can rest, 8 p.m. rest, 10 to 4, you write. Oh, sorry, this Bhakti Vinod Thakur, his activity. So from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. he will sleep, only 2 hours. Then from 10 p.m. to 4 p.m. he will write the scriptures, translation and all. 4 a.m. to 4:30 he will rest, another half hour. Then 4:30 to 7 he will chant his rounds. 7 to 7:30 he will write letters. Whoever needs guidance or he will write letters. And then 7:30 to 9:30 he will study the Shastra. And then 9:30 to 10 o'clock he will take bath and take prasad. And 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock he is a judge in the British government. So he does his job. 1 to 2 he refresh at home, eat prasad. At 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock again he go back to work. And then from 5 to 7 he translate from Sanskrit to Bengali and English. And then 7 to 8 he take bath and take prasad. So you see his whole day is full like this. So less sleep he takes off. Only 2 hours here, and then here he takes half hour rest, and that's all. So little rest he takes. The whole other days, other time he is doing something.
Prabhu, for Bhakti Vinod Thakur Prabhu, his family time is okay. He is at what stage is he now? Grahastha or Vanaprastha? Because he's still doing.
He has 11 children.
So there is no time for this family and all that.
Actually, when he is at home, he is there, but not so much long. He is totally wife long, mostly looking after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, his son was Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Your son was a pure devotee also. By the example of him, he also, the children also get influenced. I think he does do some looking after and instructing his children. But basically, this is what we know. Right?
Is there a suggested schedule for beginning devotees like us? Something like this, but the 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. It's
No, you can't do all this.
Cannot lah, definitely.
Keep at early. Okay, your suggested is 9 o'clock you sleep, and then wake up at 4 o'clock or 4:30. Do your chanting, take your bath, take prasad, and then after that go to your work, and then come back from your work, and then do some arti, and then after that read some things, and then you can eat prasad and go to sleep. Okay. Be practical lah. Huh? Understood?
Okay, bro. Can.
Okay. Okay, 8:15. Ram, why are you so quiet today? Ram? Very quiet. Okay. Who would like to read again? Second round?
Prabhu, can I?
Yeah.
Mam upetya punarjanma dukkhalayam asvatam nat
Asatvatam.
asatvatam
Asat.
nat asasvatam nat nuvanti mahatmana samsidhim paramam gata. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection.
So,
Hare Krishna.
explaining the question number 8 still on question number 8. So you become a great soul when you become fully in devotional service. You never return to this temporary world, which is full of misery, because you already attained the highest perfection. Okay, who would like to read this?
Hare Prabhuji,
Okay,
you have to guide me, Prabhuji.
okay. Brahma Bhuvana Loka
Brahma Bhuvana Loka
Punar Avartino Arjuna
Punar Avartino Arjuna
Am Upetyatu
Mam Upekyatu
Kaunteya
Kaunteya
Punar Janmana
Punarjanmana
Vidyate.
Vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Even the highest planet, Deva planet, even though so much enjoyment, also got misery. To the lowest planet, the Patala planet below Earth, also got misery. Earth also got misery. There are so many people here in the material world who are only don't want peace. They just want to put their put their will onto everyone else. Everyone else has to follow, whether you like or not. So basically, you have these jihadis who want to enforce their will. All have ego problem. They all feel that they are right, everyone else is wrong. They don't understand that that people have to be encouraged to do devotional service, not forced to do devotion. So they are all, and they don't care. People suffer. People don't have enough food to eat, and don't mind. So long as they follow this, what I want. This is what they are very, very, very selfish people. So basically, there are a lot of miserable places here. Two people will fight for religion, and in the end, the people who are the two countries fight, and then the people who are the citizens all suffer. Okay, 8.17. You see 8.17. Let's see what they write. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day. And such also is the duration of his night. So here is a full story. In Kali Yuga is 432,000 years, out of which 5,000 years have finished, because when Krishna left this world, Kali Yuga started. So another 427,000 years more, this Kali Yuga will be, Earth will be there. After that, it will get destroyed and Satyug starts again. And then there is also Dwarpa Yuga. Satyug is 4 point Satyug, Satyug Yuga. Now total is 4.32 million. So which is Satyug is 1.728 million. Tetra Yuga is 1.296 million. Dwarpa Yuga is 864,000. And Kali Yuga is 432,000. So Kali Yuga is the shortest time. You double it, you get Dwarpa Yuga. You double it, you get Tetra Yuga. You double it, you get Satyug. And total one Yuga is this much. So 12 hours of Brahma is 4.32 million years. Just 12 hours, half a day, is you get Kali Yuga, Dwarpa Yuga, Tetra Yuga, Satyug. 4.32 million hour years. Brahma's is only 12 hours. And Brahma lives for 100 years. That means total our year will be 311.03 trillion years. Okay, so one kalpa is 1,000 Chatur Yuga. So anyway, this is all lot of calculation, but just to know that actually this is the difference between Deva years and our years. So Brahma lives for 100 years. So 12 hours only is our 4.32 million years. So it's so much time, so much difficult to understand, but this is also Krishna is explaining. Okay, and one night of Brahma, you get partial annihilation when the world is destroyed, and the people merge into the Lord, merge into Garbhodashai Vishnu. After the night, the day come again, Satyug start. You get the idea so far? Any question?
Too complicated.
This is the day, this is the night of Brahma. Equal 4.32 million, 4.32 million. Okay? Okay, so 2021. Who want to read? Ravinda, you want to read?
Okay, bro.
20 from,
Avyakto Ksara iti uktas tam ahu.
no, 20 from Bhagavad Gita.
Okay. The English translation, right?
Yeah.
Yet there is another nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is.
Okay, can you read also 19?
19, okay. Again and again, the day comes and this host of beings is active. And again the night falls, O Partha, and they are helplessly dissolved.
So 21.
Okay. Avyakto Ksara iti uktas tam ahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tat dhamma paramam mama. That which the Vedantis describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns. That is my supreme abode.
Thank you. So 8.19, Krishna says again, Brahma days come, all living entities come into being. Those who are merged into the Lord Vishnu come again out and start being in the Satyug. And in the Brahma's night, those who haven't gone back to the spiritual world will die. And then 20, there is an unmanifest place which is above the supreme. That means that this material world only gets annihilated, but the spiritual world is not annihilated. That part remains. So that which the Vedantis describe as unmanifest and infallible, the spiritual world, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained, we never return, that is my supreme abode. When we go back to spiritual world, we will never come back here again, because we will remember all our previous lives and remember all the miseries and remember it's not a nice place. We will never, ever come back again. We will be very happy being in the spiritual world. Okay? So 8:20, 8:22, 23, and 24. Who would like to read? From Bhagavad Gita.
From Bhagavad Gita, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
8, 22, 23, and 24.
Yes.
Okay. 8.22 text. The Supreme Personality of a Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading, and everything is situated within him. 8.23 text. O best of Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back. 8.24. Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6th month when the sun travels in the north. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. So this for people, this is not for devotees. This for people who are in the Karma Kanda section. They 822 is the Lord is greater than all, and only devotees which have unalloyed devotion can actually get Krishna. You see? So basically you have to become a good devotee of Krishna. And then this is 823. Krishna is explaining that if you are not an unalloyed devotee of Krishna, then you try and die at the correct timing, you know. So that during the influence of when the sun is up in the light, you must die at the auspicious moment during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels north. That means when it's in the northern hemisphere. So all this, when you die, you really don't know, isn't it? You're not able to control yourself. Bhishma Dev could control himself. He died at this. He did not die because he's waiting for the war to end, also for the correct timing. So basically, Krishna is explaining, but in 25, the mystic who pass away from the world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waxing moon, 6 months when the sun in the south reaches the moon planet, but again comes back. So there are good timing to die and bad timing to die. But for a devotee, all are good timing. There is no bad timing. Because you have devotional service, you are not bound by karmic action at all. According to Vedic opinion, there are 2 ways of passing from this world, one in the light and one darkness. When one passes in the light, he does not come back. When one passes in the darkness, he returns. This is in general only, but if you have done all bad karma, you still return, even though you pass in the daytime. Although the devotees know these 2 paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. They don't worry. Because why? Because they are always fixed in devotion. Okay, who would like to read this? 828, the last verse. Any volunteers?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, read.
Vedeshu yajneshu tapas tapashu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam patishtitam atyeti tat sarvam idam viditvaha yogi parmam satyanam upati jadhyam. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft
Barrett,
of the
not Barrett, it's Barrett.
bereft, um, bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all this, and at the end, he reaches the supreme um, eternal abode. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So last one, last verse is a person. That's why all this, the daytime, nighttime, all is only for people who are not so much into devotional service. But you, if you are in a devotional service, you get the same results as you are reading the Vedas, performing all different types of sacrifice, doing a lot of austerities, giving charity, pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, one attains all this, and at the end, he reaches the Supreme God. So basically, you do devotional service, Krishna is more pleased than any other activity you do. But you should also later on, Krishna also talks about you should do charity, you should do sacrifice, example chanting, this type of devotional service activities you should do. Okay, so today that's the end of the class. So people who are materialistic are very much engrossed in this material world, and better to become a spiritual person. So here we have Ajamil. I think you know the story of Ajamil, right? All of you know, huh?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So Ajamil's story is there, so I don't have to repeat. So even the monkeys, this is what? This is Lord Ram, right? Anyway, do devotional service. Anyone can do devotional service. Even the monkeys in Lord Ram's time, they were doing devotional service by serving Lord Ram. And then you can do it in your home, Aarti. And you will get the supreme abode. At the time of death, the Vishnu Dutas will come and take you back to the spiritual world. Okay, anyone wants Bhagavad Gita? So thank you very much. Any questions? Any questions?
Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
It's okay.
Yeah, one
Okay, Prabhu, can I ask one question? You were saying that for those who remember Lord Krishna at the time of death would definitely attain his nature.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are also people, right, who when they are in the deathbed in the hospital, they go into a kind of a comatose state. But they are very good devotees, you know. But they close their eyes, and maybe for 15, 16 hours, they were breathing very heavily, and then they lose their air, life air.
Yeah.
So for such devotees, right, would they also be able to attain, because they are not in the conscious state?
Yeah, Krishna says that those who have done devotional service, even at the time of death, you cannot remember me. I will force myself into your mind, and you will remember me, and you'll die. That's what Krishna says. That if you have been a devotee, even at the time you're unconscious, The time you're going to leave, I will come into your mind and you will remember me and you're done. Okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, Kalyani, you wanted to ask a question.
No, Prabhuji, I need you to send your notes because I don't have the notes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll post again. Krishna Kumari, you got a question?
Prabhuji, nowadays the tests all very tough.
What?
Nowadays the tests all very tough. Quizzes.
So what is very fun?
Very tough. Quizzes that you give the link.
Yes, Prabhuji, true.
Nowadays very tough. The quizzes all.
I'm giving you the links very fast now. You want later, is it?
No, actually the quizzes all is very tough. Difficult to answer.
Oh, difficult, huh? Find the
Difficult.
answers at the end, at least you will understand, huh? No problem.
Let's say if any wrong means we can view the answers, right? After that only
Yeah, after
we
that, the answers are all there. You can read.
read.
Yeah, can. No
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
And you won't be penalized for giving wrong answers.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Prabhuji, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, no problem. Okay, anything else?
Prabhuji, just now you said unalloyed devotion. It's mean?
Unalloyed means totally without deviation.
On okay, without devotion.
Deviation. That means you're always thinking of Krishna.
Always thinking of Krishna.
Okay.